What's up, everybody? How are you doing? This is David Lowe with the 4K Lowdown, and we have a review. So let's get to the lowdown on Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I bought the 4K. I wanted to get the set, but I decided against that because just too much money. And the Steelbook went so fast, sold out in no time flat. So there was no chance of me getting the Steelbook of this, but got the 4K anyway. And I knew I was going to buy it. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, but uh, really excited about it. And it almost lived up to my expectations. It almost gave me what I wanted. So let's start with the cast. I mean, come on. So you have Carrie Coon, who I recognize from sight, but not by name. Finn Wolfhard, another guy that I recognize by sight. McKenna Grace, I knew her first name, but not her last name. From Big Bang Theory. Annie Potts, I knew. And then Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Paul Rudd. Um, so altogether, this movie just squeaks in at a 10 for cast. Oh, and Olivia Wilde as well. So, so 10 for cast, good score. Let's move on to acting. The acting I wasn't too impressed with. There were some, you know, some expected monotone things from McKenna Grace. Um, I think Logan Kim, the little boy that is friends with McKenna in the movie, I think he kind of shined as more of a comic relief, kind of, I guess, taking the place of Dan Aykroyd's character from the original Ghostbusters. Um, so he was kind of my highlight as far as acting goes. Paul Rudd was his basic self. So I gave the acting a 6. Um, so moving on to plot. Let's read the plot. When a single mom and her 2 kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather, an original Ghostbuster, left behind. Um, yeah, this is what attracted to me, to this movie in the first place. So 10, full 10, high marks for the plot. So excited that this ties in to the original film. So, if you are any type of fan of the 1984 Ghostbusters film, this is almost a must watch just to give you that, I don't want to say closure, but give you um, that nostalgia of the connections with the first movie. All right. So, next thing is the ending. Now, the ending I liked. It wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be, but I did like the CGI in it. I liked the effects. I liked, how it all kind of came together. So I gave it an 8 for the ending. Wanted that to be higher, but there were just a couple little things that I wasn't happy with. Um, that could have made it so much better. And then the last of the first 5 aspects is the story. Again, love the story. Love how it ties into the original film. Love, love, love. But, and there is a but, it's a small but. Um, there, there are a couple of story holes to where they didn't explain some things that I would have wanted more information about. And the Easter eggs are just crazy. in the movie. So I think they went a little bit overboard with the Easter eggs. I love the references to the first movie. I love the homage to the whole thing. But I think we got too much of a good thing with that. So the story also gets an 8. Could have got high marks, but because of a couple little issues that I had and just Easter eggs aplenty, I went ahead and gave it an 8 for the story. So now we talk about genre and type. So the genre is comedy. It has to be because it's got to be based on the original films. They're all comedies. So comedy for the genre, and the type of film I put as paranormal because ghosts, creepy stuff, psychic abilities, whatever. So we got comedy, paranormal. The three aspects that I want from comedy are it has to be funny, duh. There has to be chemistry with the cast, and I want a good script. And some of you might think, well, where does script differ from the story? The story is, the plot is the seed, the script is the tree, the story is the forest. That's kind of how I put it. So I want a good script, and that feeds me into a really good story. So for those three aspects, let's start with funny. Was it funny? Yes. Was it really funny? No. I didn't belly laugh. That's my mark. If I get a really good belly laugh, and I've got a really good belly. If we have a really good belly laugh, then I give it high marks. So I got to give it a 6 for funny. Chemistry between the actors was pretty good, and you got, of course, the original Ghostbusters guys and their involvement, which mainly glorified cameos, but still, you get the chemistry with those guys. So I gave it good marks, but not great marks. So chemistry gets a 7. And then for script, I think the script was beautiful, but because of the acting and a little bit of problems with the story, it doesn't get full marks. So the script gets a 9. Still a good score, but not perfect. So next is the paranormal aspect. The paranormal aspect kind of goes to horror because, paranormal horror is what you want with like ghost stories or point of view films or something like that. But for the paranormal type, I have two aspects, and that is I want it to be creepy. So creep me out. You don't have to gross me out. You don't have to shock me, but give me something creepy. And then there's got to be a twist. Give me a twist at the end. Give me something I wasn't expecting. Give me a total like 180 with something. And I think they did pretty good with that. So for the creep factor, I gave it a 7. It was pretty creepy for a PG-13 movie, and it's generally a comedy, but there were some parts. It was definitely creepier than the first two films. So pretty good marks there. Wasn't like, wasn't like The Exorcist or anything, but there's enough to go, oh, that was kind of surprising. Um, and then for twist, love the twist. Still, a little predictable. I kind of expected it, but it still was awesome to see. And there were a couple other little surprises in there that I didn't expect. So the twist gets an 8. So not great marks, but good marks. So let's go back. We have Cast is 10, acting is 6, plot is 10, ending 8, story 8. And then for the genre, funny 6, chemistry 7, script 9. For the paranormal, creep 7, twist 8. For a grand total of 79. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife gets a 7.9 out of 10. Good score. Not great, good score. Solid movie. And I think it was a great tribute to Harold Ramis. May he rest in peace. So now let's look at the 4K scores. So there are two things, if you remember from my last review, that I look for with 4K. I want great audio and I want great HDR. So the audio was good, particularly the bass. I mean, there were times that my chair shook because of the bass. So, but it doesn't happen all the way through. There's not a whole lot, I wanted more with the audio, but the audio was good. So a solid 8 for the audio. And then also for the HDR, the resolution was good. There were a couple of points where the movie almost looked 3D to me. And I thought that was pretty cool. Even though it was a 4K, it's not supposed to be a 3D movie, but there were some scenes where I was like, oh, wow, that looks 3D. And some really good stuff with certain things that I liked. So the HDR also gets an 8 for a total score of 1.6 or 16. Adding that to the score for the movie gets a total score of 95 divided by 12 is 7.916. So that keeps it at 7.9. So no change, no better or worse because of the 4K stuff. So it's a solid 4K release. I don't see that the movie is a whole lot better on 4K than it is on Blu-ray, but it is. There's a little, more bass, a little bit better picture. So I think you could probably get by with the Blu-ray and still enjoy the movie. But if you got the 4K player and the 4K TV, I'd say get the 4K. But also, this movie is strictly, I think, for people who are fans of the first movie. I have seen a lot of negative reviews for Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I think maybe because they're not as familiar or not fans of the original Ghostbusters. And there's some hokey bits in the movie that might kind of turn you away. But all in all, I liked it. I thought it was a solid film. I think it's definitely worth a watch. And then decide from there if you want to go ahead and buy it on 4K or Blu-ray. But okay, Ghostbusters Afterlife, 7.9, solid score. And that is it for this episode of The Lowedown. I will be back with some more content later and some more reviews. Feel free to drop me a line, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Take care, everybody.